You might have heard this past week there was a strike in Italy because some, not all, Italian trade unions decided that they would strike if the flotilla was impeded from reaching Gaza, which they subsequently did a general strike in reaction to, which, is cool and all. Isn't it fucking crazy, though, how this is the first strike in the first world from all these countries that support, to varying degrees, Israel. It's the first strike. It's the first one after 2 years of genocide. And it's in Italy, and it's only because, a flotilla of foreign activists, mostly foreign activists, some of them white Palestinians, I think, was stopped. It's the only reason. Nothing else. Isn't it fucking crazy that this is the first real action that we're seeing? And, not to toot my own horn, but I did say that first world trade unions are imperialists, and I think the fact that it took one of them in one of the poorest first world countries 2 years to do anything is great evidence of my thesis that first world labor unions are absolutely imperialist and do not do anything for you if you are not their member. If they can get you a slight raise by making things worse for other people in the rest of the world, they will do it in a heartbeat. No issue. They won't care. That's why the American dockers unions and stuff literally make exceptions for American military hardware and Israeli military hardware, because they don't give a fuck. All they care about is themselves. Also helps as well that wages in Italy are way lower. Italy doesn't get nearly as many imperial super profits that the Americans do. The average wage for a fucking dock worker in the US is $35 fucking an hour. In Italy, it's $10 an hour. So obviously they're going to be more inclined to strike, though only after 2 years. 2 million rallied in Italy for Gaza with a general strike. 2 million people in over 100 cities. Cool, good. Too little, too late, though. Particularly, this is only happening in Italy. Americans are fucking just imperialists, man. That's all there is to it. Americans would never do anything like this because they frankly don't care enough. They frankly do not care to risk things for others, even though they are the ones who are most capable of effecting real change. Even if Italians, literally every single Italian, got into the street and couped their government in support of Gaza, they still wouldn't be able to do that much. They're Italy. They're not that big of a deal. The US is, though. One very interesting thing about this that I think is just a great announcement on all of us, every single one of us should be ashamed at this, is that the Italian police union, or one of the Italian police unions, I believe there's multiple, announced that they would be joining the strikes, though only after they oppress them. The SILP, which is this union, one of the Italian police unions, announced that they would be adhering to the general strike, which doesn't really mean they're actually adhering to it, because apparently, they abide by the law, they are police, and they said, unfortunately, state police workers do not have the right to strike, but once we finish our workday, we will participate in the initiatives taking place across the country. And they said that they wholeheartedly support the general strike, and police officers are participating in the initiatives. And they said it's impossible to remain silent in the face of such a massacre in Gaza. So this is obviously very funny, because joining a protest after you spend your workday repressing the protest, that's not exactly joining the strikes in my book. But it still is more than what the American unions have done. It still is more than what Americans in general have done. So not just Americans, really anyone in any country outside of Yemen, and also Iran as well. But Iran, it's important to clarify, did not attack Israel because they wanted to do it for Gaza. Iran attacked Israel because their own interests were threatened when Israel attacked them. It's not the same thing. It's really not the same thing at all. So only Yemen, really. The Italian police union has legitimately a more radical stance than every single union, every single organized labor movement, practically every single supposedly left-wing organization. In terms of the actual action that they've taken here, even if it's not even actually a real adherence to the strike, then all of those organizations in every other Western country, the countries that are most directly responsible for supporting this genocide and enabling it. Utterly insane, right? Who the fuck else is there? Palestine Action, maybe? The rare people who actually sabotage weapons facilities? Those people, maybe. Aside from that, the Italian police are more radical than you. The Italian police have taken better action against the genocide in Gaza than you. The world is so fucked that I can say that. I take no pleasure in saying this. I'm not gloating or anything. This is so sad and depressing that this is the stage that we are at, that this is how bad things are. Just when you think they can never get worse, then the Italian police union takes more radical action than the entire Democratic Socialists of America and every single American union combined for Gaza. And these people told me that me saying that American unions are imperialist was laughable without actually trying to rebut it. And then the Italian unions in like a country where wages are like 4 times less than the US come out and show us precisely how, by comparison, Americans really are lulled into complicity with imperialism by super profits that the Italians comparatively get way less of. So yeah, good on the Italians for doing a general strike. Better late than never, I suppose, though still very late and not as impressive as people are framing it. And if only everyone else did this, you could shut down the entire first world and you could end the genocide in a day. You should analyze why you don't do it, rather than getting offended at people like me who tell you why you don't do it, which is that ultimately your populations are lulled into total complacency. Your populations would rather keep the imperial super profits flowing. You'd rather get your treats than you would to do something that would legitimately take risk and effort, primarily for the benefit of others who you might never even meet on the other side of the world. That's sadly the real gist of it. And the only reason the Italian trade unions really got involved here is because the flotilla had a lot of Italians on it. And that's ultimately the saddest thing about this. It's all like solidarity with you and yours in the end. So yeah, quite sad, but you know, at this point, we know what's going on here. You know, it's just annoying that a lot of people deny it. They see me say something obvious, like your unions are imperialist. You know, your population is imperialist. That's why they don't take action for Gaza, obviously. That's why you have the most capacity to do something, but you don't really do anything meaningful. You don't really do anything. You don't really take advantage of that. They saw me speak the truth, and they demand that I be burned at the stake for it. They can point at what I say and imply it's wrong, but they can never explain why it's wrong. But I mean, good on the Italian unions for trying to do something. As ultimately frivolous as it was, sadly, given that they are still Italians, they don't really have a huge effect over anything. If only the other unions gave a single shit about anyone but their own members so that everyone else could do this. This idea of like international solidarity, like there being a unified international proletariat that has unified interests, is simply not true. There are clear divisions in different countries that incentivize their populations to act in certain ways that in the imperial core, particularly the USA, incentivize their populations to have the opposite of solidarity with the proletariat in the rest of the world, and especially in the third world. So yeah, just a material fact, a reality that you need to come to terms with and adapt to and work to change, rather than complaining when people like me say it.